Welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. And when I started this show in 2008, I was on a mission to promote women-owned businesses and help women succeed by providing resources and valuable tips from other women and men, small business owners. In each interview, my guests speak openly about their triumphs, the scary times, and tough decisions they had to make along the way. Women Entrepreneurs Radio is about showing women how to harness their natural strengths to achieve success on their own terms. Hi everyone, welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio, and I am your host, Deborah Bailey, and I'm really glad that you could join me. And if you're listening to this show on Podomatic, of course, you can also hear it on iTunes. And you can also check it out on some other platforms as well, including now lately Spotify. And you can also find it on YouTube and Google Play and iHeartRadio recently as well. So there's different places you can listen. So we are going to get started today with my guest, and the topic is going to be how to lose your fear and start a business with your husband. And the guest today is Marina Cummins, and when Marina and James Cummins had their first daughter in the summer of 2016, they wanted to create a keepsake book to celebrate her arrival, but found the traditional baby books that were available to be underwhelming, and with a new baby at home, too time-consuming to fill out. Recognizing the marketplace niche in online baby product market estimated at $7 billion annually, Marina, a digital marketing product development executive, had a vision for taking the personalized baby book market to an entirely new level. She came up with the idea of modernizing the baby book for busy moms. They created Little Book of You, an easy and elegant alternative to what was traditionally available. Little Book of You creates 100% customizable baby books telling each child's unique story through fun and special facts all about them, which, best of all, can be filled out by parents. In less than 15 minutes online, it arrived beautifully crafted and totally personalized in just a week. And Marina Cummins is a mom, a busy executive at a Fortune 500 company, and now an entrepreneur in this new business she launched with her husband in 2017. So welcome to the show, Marina.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to get the chance to speak with you.
Yes, it's just such a really fantastic and creative idea here. So it sounded really delightful. But before we get into our topic, if you could just share a little bit, more about, you have this wonderful idea, and what really led you to say, okay, I'm going to jump in and start this business?
That is a great question. I guess it was an interesting time, given as you mentioned, I still do work in another full-time job, and also had just had a baby. So I guess in some ways it was a very busy time, but it was also a time, entrepreneurship had always been something that really interested me. I've taken a lot of classes about it in business school, and gotten practice writing business plans and all that kind of thing. And it always sort of been passively thinking about and, kicking around ideas that could still at that point be a business. And, it was shortly after having Lila, who was our first daughter. And I was looking I was going back to work, and I was looking to find ways to, re-engage and kick up my passion at work again. It was kind of can be hard when you're first going back and leaving that baby at home. So this was an idea that kind of came to me. I had been given a personalized book as a gift, and I thought it was cute, but it was something that I thought could be a lot better. And I also had an empty baby book, one of those ones you have to write paragraphs and paragraphs in, had that empty sitting at home. So figured, this would be such a great idea to combine, the personalization factor with the baby book. And it was also, something I had a good amount of experience in. My husband has worked in the book business his entire career, and I have worked in kind of digital marketing and website and digital development. So it was something that really combined our interests and was something we thought we could do a great job at and have a lot of fun doing, and also kind of scratch that entrepreneurial itch I had always had.
Well, it sounds terrific and like a really perfect opportunity, because a lot of women that I talk to usually will start something based on a need that they have discovered, probably related to their family or something going on in their lives, and then they realize, oh, there's an opportunity here. So
exactly.
Yeah. It's always kind of interesting to see how people get started. And a lot of people really want to try to have a business. And according to our topic, how to lose your fear, start a business with your husband. What might be holding someone back from making this leap? What are some of the blocks that you think really stop people from getting started on being an entrepreneur?
I think one of the big myths is that you really have to be a huge risk taker to be an entrepreneur. And I think, especially at moments in like what I am in, where, you have a child now, or you have other obligations and other things that you need, to fulfill on, it's hard to say, like, let's take on another thing, let's do something else, another obligation that, I'm going to have to work hard for, and there'll be financial impacts and all that. But I think the reality is that you don't have to be a huge risk taker to be an entrepreneur. Like, we started our business while continuing to work 2 full-time jobs, and it wasn't, possible for us to do the like live out of your parents' garage with zero overhead thing that, I think is kind of the typical way people think about entrepreneurship. We had to be a bit more pragmatic and fit it in with other things. So I think, the idea that you have to risk the farm on it or anything like that to start a business is not necessarily true. And I think that is something that can really hold people back. And while it means you might need to go a bit slower at times than you'd like, it is still possible to give yourself the freedom to have a little bit more time to figure things out, and it's not really like a zero-sum game all the time.
That's a good point to make, because I think that is what holds a lot of people back, because they think, oh, it's not something I can do because I can't really take that big risk at this point in my life. So
right, exactly.
Yeah, they may have the idea, but then they figure, well, that's not something I can actually do. Yeah.
No, and I totally understand that also.
I think a lot of people have the idea that it's just not something the average person does. It's
exactly.
You have to be like, like someone in Silicon Valley or something.
Yeah, exactly. No, I think the other thing people think of is, not every business is going to rocket to Facebook level success as a startup. There are smaller ways to do it over longer periods of time that can still build, a really interesting and sustainable business.
So how do you get started though? Is it like, I know creating the business plan is a big thing. Is that something that you would recommend that someone starts with?
For me, I'm a fairly fact-based person. So what I did was, I ended up, we were talking about this idea of building a baby book and what does that mean and what would people's reaction to it be and all of that. So what I ended up doing was actually building a prototype. So I am not an artist, but I took out, some Crayola markers and drew like a 32-page book, exactly what we were talking about building, and did kind of examples of what each page could look like, and then, turn that into a PDF. And thought of 20 moms I knew and sent it to them with kind of a potential customer survey and asked them, about the desirability of it and advice they have and price point and other products like it that they had bought, and kind of got input that way. And then sort of sat down. I had taken classes in business school around writing a business plan, so had some practice there, but in general, a business plan is not as scary as it sounds. It's really like a template that can be found online, and it's just a way to really organize your thoughts around what the costs are, who the competitors are, how you can differentiate, and how you would market it, and how you would get there in terms of, making the business work from like a cost and profit perspective. So yeah, I guess to take the fear out of it, for me, it was just having more information. So knowing more concretely what the product would be by actually spending the time to try and mock it up, then getting the feedback from friends to say, do you like it? Would you buy it? What do you think? And being able to tweak just, it's a little bit anecdotal, but getting access to the people, to get their feedback. And then I just trying to organize my thoughts around what it would take from a cost perspective to build it. So that gave me kind of enough insight to feel confident to move forward. And it also, I think another factor, which people don't always talk about, is, it made me excited enough to move forward. I had a really good time doing it. I loved making it. I loved the creative process. I loved reaching out to people. I loved actually writing the business plan. It was something that I found very energizing. So I think that's another factor you need to consider is like, especially if this is something you're piling on to the rest of your life, is it something you enjoy and you feel passionate about and you like want to do? Because obviously not every moment of being an entrepreneur is going to be fun, but at least at the beginning, you have to say, like, is this the thing I want to spend my very limited free time doing?
That's really, really good points. And I think that's a great idea. You're saying doing the mock-up. I'm not sure that a lot of people realize that they really should do that first.
Yeah, no, I think the more concrete you can be going into it, because I think if you don't have a way in which you can say, like, here are our margins, here are our costs, here's what it's actually going to take to push this product out the door, and here's what, given a little bit of customer research, I think people are willing to pay for it. It's very hard to know if you're going to be able to have anything close to a successful business without having those data points.
That's good. That's true. So I guess getting to the real heart of the matter, how do you own this business with your husband and everything, nice and happy and smooth?
Yeah. No, I think for us, it's actually been really great. Like I really have enjoyed doing it together. I do understand it wouldn't always go this way, but I think, some of the challenges are that, any time that was formerly leisure time together can now be considered work time. So that includes, before you've had your coffee in the morning, Saturday night at 9:00, anytime. So if you think you nag each other about family and house stuff and that kind of thing, adding a business to the mix, really compounds the issue. But I think it's interesting because you really get to know your spouse in a whole different way. So, you often, I think many couples often don't get to see who each other are in that other persona, the kind of more business focused, side of their life. So it's fun to get to add that dimension to your relationship, and get to see, how some of his strengths are very different than my strengths, and how we can work together. He, I mentioned before, has worked in his family business for his entire career, which is a rare book shop that his father started about 40 years ago. So he has a lot of experience with books and with, the paper and the printing, the quality, all of that kind of stuff, as well as some of the operations of a small business. He's always been, very close to the accounting side of his business, and is very good at kind of the sales side, making deals, doing a little more of the hustling that you do in a smaller whereas, I've worked my entire career in more corporate jobs, so I have a lot of the experience with working with agencies and working with different partners, working with digital teams, etc. So I think we have a very complementary skill set that works well. But in your home life, you don't always have to recognize who is better at what and divide and conquer that way. So it is interesting to be in that situation now where you treat each other like you would in an office environment where you say, well, let's divide and conquer in XYZ ways because this is where you're better, this is where I'm better.
So does it really create any, I guess conflicts with when you may just want to relax and unwind, but now you're kind of talking about the business and
Yeah, I would say it definitely does. I think I am, personality type, having worked in a lot of corporate environments and taken all the personality tests, I guess I get assigned to like the driver bucket. So I have and I can see myself as relentless at times on, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? So I need to learn. I need to learn how to check myself and say 11 o'clock at night. We've been working since like 7. Let's just watch HBO for a few minutes and call it a day.
Right. Yeah. Trying to meld those personality traits.
Yeah, exactly. Not bring your whole work self home.
Oh, right. Right. That's true. It's kind of a different thing when you're out in the world and then you're coming home and then you have another business and, also intimate relationships. So there's just some...
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Recognize the moments when you are wrong.
That's a good one. That's a very good one.
Exactly.
I'm sure everybody will heed that advice. That's for sure. But I know you must have to put in a lot of time with the business and the job, children. Like right now you're in a cafe because
yes, exactly.
And it's just how do you manage all of these parts of what's going on in your life?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everyone talks a lot about balance, and it's definitely one of those elusive concepts that's always sought out, but hard to ever really know if you've achieved it. But I think last year I did something that was called like a vision planning exercise, which I thought was really useful in helping to kind of frame how you think about your life and your year, which the assignment was kind of to pretend it was January 1st on the following year and write a retrospective on your year and having it have been the best year ever and everything that happened and everything you achieved and all the things that also were going on in your life that were important to you. So I kind of did that, which I think was important and good for me to kind of have that as a benchmark of here's everything I want to be in good shape at the end of the year. So that is obviously work, but it's also personal. So I want to make sure I'm always there to put my kids to bed. I want to make sure I'm always there for my friends at really important moments. I want to make sure I achieved a certain milestone at work. I want to make sure we push our company to this level. I want to make sure I go on dates with my husband occasionally. So just like having that as the benchmark of here's what I think the breakdown of my life should be. And if it's not that, then something's out of whack, I think is kind of an important place to start. But then I think also you have to be flexible and, in any given day, I don't think it's really possible to have perfect balance and to do everything and have it perfectly divided up into like 20% chunks of family and work and kids and whatever. But I think over a longer period of time, I think it's important to like look at it and say like, am I really still doing the things I need to do to make me feel like I have a happy and successful life? And I think another big factor in that is when you get to this kind of juncture in life and you are really busy, you also need to learn to say no to the things you don't want to do or are not going to be things that help you re-energize. I think those are, you know, the main things. I think also on a side note, as a mom, I've sort of found you need to be able to really change gears quickly and be really organized. So going from a conference call to school drop off or going from PowerPoint to a play date, you know, all those things, you know, maximizing your time by like working with the windows that you have.
Yeah, that's great advice. Doing the best you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because no one I've talked to has found that elusive balance yet. So.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a very persistent conversation topic that is hard to get to.
Yeah, so true. That is so true. So, could you share where people can find out more about you and your product?
Sure. So, Little Book of You, you can find on our website. It's www.littlebookofyou.com, and also on Facebook, Little Book of You, and on Instagram, Little Book of You.
When, you know, you're starting everything and the business plan and all that, how do people determine as far as being profitable and making money and really getting things going? How did that work with both of you when you started this? I'm assuming that, you know, the business plan, you planned out what you're looking at, but how did that really come together?
So I think, you know, we did a first cut at the business plan and then got much more into refining it as we went. But, you know, I think actually I've looked back at like those first business plans more recently, and, you know, there were a lot of new costs that we hadn't necessarily expected, but we did pretty much get the big buckets, right? You know, we had to invest in our website infrastructure. We had to invest in the integration with our printer. We had to invest heavily in our illustrator and designer to actually make the whole product, as well as in our marketing and PR. So those are really the main factors. And then, you know, we have stuck with the price point that we had thought it would be from the beginning. It's a $49.95 product. That was something we arrived at through some of our customer surveys, as well as data points that have kind of, you know, we looked up online that showed that people in general for close friends and family in the U.S. spend on average $50 for a baby present. So this is something we kind of see as something that would mostly be a gift, not for a very remote person, but more for a close friend or a sister or something like that. So that was how we arrived at the price point. You know, I think actually our product has been extremely well received by moms. Everyone we talk to really loves it. We've gotten, you know, we've never gotten less than a 5-star. I should say that, but we've never gotten less than a 5-star review in the channels where we get reviews. But it was more, the marketing was the place where we had, you know, some learning in terms of, it's a bit of a complicated product to explain because people think they know what it is and then kind of, you know, don't want to pay attention long enough to get the surprise and delight factors that make our product actually really exciting and different than other things like it. So I think the marketing has been where we have learned the most and have had to pivot the most in terms of how to market it. But I think in general, we had a pretty good idea of the cost going in. We knew the price point, and we have been fairly lucky in the volume we've been able to sell in order to cover our costs and beyond, and, you know, have further to go in terms of getting it out to more and more people. But I think feel really good that all the customers that we do have are really strong advocates and have a very good, you know, product market fit in that way.
And it sounds like this is all good advice to share as far as your experience, because a lot of times when people may start a business, they may not look into, okay, this is what I have to invest in order to bring this to a certain level. Who am I identifying as my target? What are they expecting?
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of questions that people sometimes kind of in a rush to get something out there, they may not really stop to do this real good research.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the on the cost side also, just like whatever you're estimating your costs are, multiply it by at least 30%. doesn't matter what, even if you think you're inflating or overestimating, like things will come up. Like definitely, my husband had a better grasp on some of these things than I would have known, but estimating in the lawyer fee, the accounting fee, like all of those kinds of things that, you're going to need to incorporate. You're going to need to have someone help you figure out how to pay your taxes, like all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things. A lot of times people don't realize, especially what they hear from some folks, kind of making them think it's all super easy, and they don't really have to.
Yeah, exactly. Anything that seems too easy is not.
That's not it.
Yeah, exactly. You haven't scratched the surface hard enough, I'd say.
Right, keep going. You'll find.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness, that is definitely very, very true. So Marina, I'm so glad that we got a chance to talk, and I know that you got to get going and look after the family and other things going on. I'm sure that you
thank you
have for the rest of your evening. But was there any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I would just say entrepreneurship is fun. It's a lot of work, but it can be a really great experience, and it helps you grow and learn in so many different ways and be energized by your work. And it really doesn't have to be something that's only for people who can risk everything they have. I would say you can take risks in smaller ways and go for it. So I think anything is possible.
Well, that's great. That's great to hear. So, once again, I'm so glad that you could take the time to join me for this conversation. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Well, thank you so much. I had a great time speaking with you and really appreciate it.
So everyone, I know you enjoyed this show. Please make sure that you visit Marina's site and check out her product, and also share this show with other folks that you know and other people maybe looking to go into business, particularly with a spouse, and let them listen in and learn some things about what is possible for them. So once again, to Women Entrepreneurs Radio with your host, Deborah Bailey. Thank you so much for joining me, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us. You can also join in the conversation on Facebook.com/Women Entrepreneurs and on the website, WomenEntrepreneurSecrets.com. And don't forget to listen in on dvcoach.podomatic.com and on iTunes.